Hello and welcome to another brand talk session. And today we will be talking about focusing on the process. You know, before I jumped into this, I had to say a little prayer because it's just one of those topics because I'm still living it. So it's not as if I've conquered this, right? And no, I'm still living it. But I'm trusting God, I'm trusting the Holy Spirit and my spirit to guide whatever I'm going to say to help someone out there. Because it's quite a very sensitive conversation or a sensitive topic per se. Now, focusing on the process. I believe I read one time that about 97% of startups die. That's ridiculous. 97% of startups. So, if you're an entrepreneur out there, a startup owner, you must be absolutely mad. You're already crazy thinking that you're going to beat that statistics to be among the 3-2% that's going to survive. I'm talking about in Nigeria alone. We have tons of startups, tons of businesses springing up every year in Nigeria. You must be mad. Now, don't take it. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying how crazy it is for you to already think that, I can be among the 2-3% that will survive. So I give it to you for being that crazy. Because only I heard somewhere that only geniuses are crazy, right? I give it to you for being that crazy to believe. And the truth is, the statistics don't lie, data don't lie. That's our reality in Nigeria. 97 to 98% of startups die. Most of them in the first 3 years. If you've been a long time listener of Brand Talk, you've always heard me talk about Yummy Drop, a business I started about 2 years ago. So I'm still in the danger zone. I'm still very much in the danger zone. Well, I gave myself 5 years, so I'm still very much in the danger zone. I'm going to talk about this from my experience, and I've come to realize it's not because we as entrepreneurs we're not putting in the work. It's not because there's no creative thinking. It's not because we don't want to succeed. First of all, the Nigerian environment. I'm not trying to be sentimental, but I'm a person of faith. I'm huge when it comes to faith. However, the reality we have where this world system is in play is that the Nigerian environment is anti-business, anti-small business per se. Now we are hoping it's going to change someday soon. We're believing for that new Nigeria where small businesses can thrive. The Nigeria that some of our parents saw, the Nigeria that some of us got to witness a couple of years ago. We believe that Nigeria and something better is going to come. However, we're going to deal with what we currently have on ground. It sucks, and that is the truth. There's no sugarcoating that. So that is already in play, right? And then we have tons of businesses that are pouring in money and then nothing is coming. So you're putting in a lot of money, tons of money. I remember a conversation I had with my mentor, Tola Alabi, and this never leaves me. It was in the early days of ideating or putting ideas together for Yummy Drop. He said something that have stuck with me, and that for every day I keep reminding myself. There are two people that actually last when it comes to the entrepreneurship game. First of all, those that have tons of money. Now, they have tons of money, so the money they have gives them the patience to wait out that 3 to 5 years that businesses fail, right? And then you have people that don't have the tons of money but have the tons of patience. Like they have the dogged attitude, no matter what, I'm going to stick this through. Those that are very, very crazy. I don't have the tons of money, so I guess that put me in among that bracket of people that are very crazy to believe that, a business is going to thrive in this ridiculous climb, right? I guess whatever you call it, but it's not a dogged thing, it's not a hard man thing. It's just that ability to focus on the process and not the goal. I'm going to use two scenarios with me at the center of it all, because that will best explain. I started off as a graphic designer. I have this business, AC Studio. I started off as a graphic designer, and I remember about a year, 2 years into the business, I started off designing 2016 about, so this happened in 2018. I wanted to quit. I was, at the time, I did not understand what to call it, but I think now I'll call it like depressed. I've been in this for 2 years. Yes, I do graphic design jobs for people, but the money, the money paid is, what will I call it, for lack of a better word, is shitty. Like I was living with my parents. I could barely afford to help out with bills at home, and then I'm looking at myself, and then I'm looking, what will I call it, what an absolute disappointment I must be to my parents. I must be to my young, because I left the university with so much, like they must have had so much hope and believing, like, oh, this guy's gonna go get a job and start helping them out. But like, what? We're talking 4 years after I graduated. It's just I'm still at home 4 years after I've graduated. I'm still at home, and I could even barely help them with making something as little as electricity bills. So I was depressed, and I thought to myself, well, this was not for me. So I was living in a place called Oka, Anambra State. That's where my parents lived, and that's the capital of Anambra State and all. And I remember I had just made the decision in my head. Okay, I was gonna move to Lagos, because I heard Lagos is where all the tech people are, that's where all the opportunities are. So I need to leave Oka and move to Lagos. And that was a decision I made, not because it was a decision I made because I felt like I was not my goal, what I envisioned it to be. I know it's gonna take time, but I thought I've become good, right? I'm not bad. I still have I'm talking about my design. I still have a couple of, I still have a lot of things to learn, but I've gotten to a place where my work should be appreciated. I feel like the environment I was not appreciating my work. So I need to leave here. I need to go to a place where I can start making money, and then I can start helping my parents. I decided I was going to move to Lagos. Nothing. That's the thing. And fortunately for me, I met an amazing guy called Ife, and I always say he's one of the people, or one of the guys in my life I will always pay massive respect and massive love to, because I believe God placed him at that point in my life to help me understand about process and not about. So I went to this, for some reason I saw there was some sort of startup hangout in Oka, and I've never heard that before, but okay, I went to the hangout, and then funny thing, both of us were the only graphic designer there. Of course, the law of familiarity, right? We just started conversation, and I saw, this guy have been here, like, he started this way earlier than me, and he's been here in this same town I've been complaining about. He's enjoying being in this town. He's working. I could see the flair in his face. I could see the passion. I could see everything was still there. But I barely started 2 years ago, and then it's as if everything is just dim and raw. So I was asking myself, pressing myself, you're in the same town with me, like, what's up, guy? Tell me what's up. We got talking, that was where he started helping me understand about appreciating the process, appreciating where you are. Because we tend to focus so much on the goal. Oh, this is because we enter in the entrepreneurship game, like, okay, I don't want to answer to anybody. I want to be my own boss. I want to be in charge of my own time, be responsible for my own self, and then we think of this, have money, buy cars, be happy, and all that. So that's the goal, especially that's what they projected for us from the media, social media, traditional media, even the society. That's what they've projected for us. That's what should be our goal, have a family and all that. But this is someone that is not bogged down. I'm looking at a guy that is not bogged down by this. I'm looking at a guy that is taking advantage of the quote unquote the place he's currently in, the same orca, like working and building something. So I wanted, at first I did not understand, but I wanted to taste that. I knew deep down that my decision to leave Orca to Lagos was a hasty one. It was not planned. It was not like, it was just a hasty decision, a money what will I call it, a money motivated decision. So on a second thought, I said, okay, now let me just give myself time and then follow this guy, like get to understand. And from my interaction with Efe, from being friends with him, partnering with him on projects, I began to see design in a different, not just design, I began to see my journey as an entrepreneur in a different light and all. And we talked about a lot of things because there was a lot of factors, a lot of pressures influencing my decision then. I had a relationship then that I felt like I wasn't pulling in my weight, right? So I have this lady that I love, and I felt like I wasn't meeting up. It was obvious she was no longer happy. Our relationship was in a rocky place and all that. So I felt like it was my job, because it has always been, right? So right now, being an entrepreneur, I'm seeing less money every day. Sometimes I'll go weeks, almost a month without seeing a dime, but then I have this guy telling me, guy, relax. You got to enjoy it. You have to learn from this. Orca needs to teach you a lot of things before you even move, so that when you transition from Orca, it's going to be a seamless one. Just, so I would say he brought me under his tutelage. So he's actually the first mentor I knew. Well, I never outrightly told him, because I looked up to him a lot, because I admired. He's older than me, both by age wise and by in the design industry wise and all that. And I felt he was wiser than me. He saw the whole, he was enjoying this process, and I was not. We had the same, I'm pretty much like he had more pressure, but he wasn't allowing this pressure move him and all. And from there, we worked on projects after projects together, and I fell in love with being in Orca. Again, I fell in love with what I did. I stopped, slowly, stopped bugging myself about a lot of, is this working or not working and all. I just started to trust the process. Because if I had met Efe, I would not be in Abuja. If I had not met Efe, I wouldn't be in Abuja today. Because there was a seamless moving from Orca to Abuja as a result of slowing down and taking the pain. I lost that relationship. I lost a lot of things. Sometimes, at a point, I lost the respect of my siblings, because oh God, you're just wasting your time. I have to be honest with myself. Some people saw me as a complete failure. Like, what do you mean you finished? You read economics, you're just at home every day, you're on your laptop scribbling things, and you're calling it design and all that. I have friends that were already making thousands, millions and all that, and I'm here saying, what? I do a design job, someone pays 10k, and that was 10,000 naira, and that was like the highest. So it was a crazy time. This whole thing, fast forward later, moving that movement and all, to finally being in Abuja, finally establishing a design, and then finally getting to the point where I'm finally charging what I had saw back then, and And even more, people are finally showing respect and all. Like, people are looking at you and respecting your work. People are looking at you and looking up to you, and have people calling me mentor and all. And I'm asking myself, if I had taken that drastic decision of, at a point, of course, I thought, okay, why not just leave the whole design industry and just look for a job, of which I attempted. I'm not trying to BS you here, of which I attempted, but thank God it did not work. Thank God it did not work. I went for a couple of interviews that did not work, and for some reason I just didn't give my all to it. I remember even my girlfriend back then would send me some, hey, apply for this, apply for that. It would irritate me, because that's not where I want to be. 2 years ago, I started Yomi Drop with the whole flair, with the whole everything. Like, I was able to sit down with my mentor, with people that I brought together, and then we put in this work, we put in all these ideas together to build this beautiful baby. And it was all good. God being faithful, I had the money to back it up. So it wasn't just an idea because I remember when I told Tola I was ready to move forward, he was like, oh, he was thinking that we're still talking about something. He didn't even, he was surprised that I already had the money to back up this vision. I said, yeah, I had the money to back it up and all that, and we started. I was working then, because at a point I said, okay, now let me give 1 year to a charity organization. So I was working with an NGO, but still yet I was putting this together and all. I was putting Yomi Drop together by the side, and when it was finally ready, I decided to leave. But it wasn't a very seamless transition from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. Like, especially when after 1 year I started being relaxed, because the environment was, that sort of place you really want to be in. And of course, you're seeing your work impact lives, literally save lives, literally put smiles on people. So that whole going out and seeing people happy and all that, it kind of like infected me per se. But then I knew from day one, I always wanted to build things. I always wanted to express myself through projects, through things that I build, or things that I build in partnership with people. So Yomi Drop was that baby, that project there, and that I was putting everything on. So when the time came, as difficult as it was, because it's really difficult leaving a place where you know that, oh, okay, yes, I was earning by this. I was still earning through AC Studio, because I built structures that allowed me to do that as well as work. But then you have something consistent that for sure that's going to come every month, right? But now you transition to no, there's nothing going to come in every month, right? Whether from AC Studio, from Yomi Drop, you're not sure, you're not certain. We're not even sure whether Yomi Drop is going to work. We're talking about delivering cakes using motorbikes. Who does that? Every baker I had spoke to before then told me flat no, hell no, I'm not going to put my cake in a motorbike. It's already risky giving it to Bolt, Uber drivers, and now you're talking about putting it to, especially with the type of dispatchers we have in Nigeria. It was a crazy move, but we made that move. We made the move. Fast forward 4 months, 6 months down the line, 4 to 5 months after the launch of Yomi Drop, we've not even made up to 20,000 naira in sales, in service sales. It was crazy. At first, that first 2-3 months, I felt like, I was still pumped up. I was probably still pumped up because there was still money. So I was pumped up and okay, yeah, let's just, I believe my guys. I had dispatchers I kept on salary throughout that period. So I told them, hey, don't worry, we're doing this. We're doing this together as a family and all that. And the beautiful thing is this, that my family started leaving me one by one. It was so crazy that I had this dispatcher that I just helped pay his rent for the year, and then 1 month later he just up and leave. Not a word. It was crazy. I was going through what will I call it? It was like an emotional roller coaster, right? I don't know. At the point, there was a point of high, there was a point of very low. I had doubted, like, I'm talking that we've not even made up to 20k, 20,000 naira in a business that we've invested personally from my own money, millions of naira, and not even 20,000. We're going into 6 months. I'm really, really grateful for the people that, said okay in that first 4 or 5 months, the few people that like decided to try us out, and even with the whole trying out, they were still not convinced, and that was why they were not. And then we had this price rate that looked good to us in terms of covering the bottom line, but we were blinded to the fact that one of the problems we had was the price. The rate we were charging looked ridiculous to our customers. Like, there's no way on earth I'm going to give you this. I'd rather go and put my cake in a car. But I was blinded to that. I was like, I kept telling my guys, hey, see, don't worry that people are going to adjust to this, because I believe that we're doing something new, no doubt, something unique, no doubt. Like, this is the first time a cake only delivery business has sprung up in Abuja using motorbikes. So people was going to come around. So I wasn't reading my market per se. So these were all part of the things that caused some sort of depression. And then, from time to time, there was this bout with my own personal life, whether it's relationship or otherwise, or family. So I still had that struggle between that and, but thank God I was really in Abuja, far away from my parents' house. I remember one day, I think that was in March 2022. April 2022, like, I was so tired. I literally just laid on my bed and I gave it a good cry. I spent close to 30 minutes just crying, because there was a lot of doubt. Because when Yomi dropped, when I wanted to put in this money in Yomi drop, so many people, including my own parents, were like, are you sure you want to do this? I come from a proud Igbo family, so they would have felt better if I'd gone into the buying and selling business. In fact, my dad brought up, tried to hook me up with, let me just go into this buying and selling thing, right? That's what we know how to do. But I'm like, chill, calm down, or use the money and do something else. Like, okay, I understand delivery, but then I don't understand you only delivering cakes. This will not be profitable. It doesn't make any sense. So you see, all these were playing in my head. I had people I was paying salary, they were leaving me one after the other, and it was crazy. It was a crazy time. There was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of questioning myself. There was a lot of questioning my God. And I'm like, are you really serious right now? Are you seated there in heaven or in me, and then you're watching this happen? It was another moment where I felt like, okay, it's time to quit this, maybe, because I was something like, I was also still using the word of my mentor, because see, if there's one man I always appreciate and his influence in my life, that's Tola Alabi. I talk to him a lot, I disturb him a lot, and especially when it comes to, he's not just a mentor to me based on design, he's a mentor to me all round with business, relationship wise and all that, because he's a wise sage, and he has learned a lot from his own life experience, and he has a lot to offer. Remember one of those days, especially when we were trying to get the delivery boxes into Nigeria, he was encouraging me to do the numbers I wanted to do. What's the worst that can happen? If it doesn't work, I can sell off and then use the money and then to do other things. And I thought about that. So that's the worst that can happen, right? I can just sell off and then. So that night, I gave it a good cry, and then I just resolved the next day. I was gonna start the process of just quitting this whole thing. It's not gonna work. So funny thing, the next morning, waking up, that's how bad it was. I didn't even pray that. I had no passion. I had no motivation. Nothing. There was nothing in me looking to pray about anything. The first message I got from my phone was from my pastor in my local church, and he gave me this word of encouragement because I was in a place where my spirit was talking and I couldn't listen to the spirit. And I'm talking about God was talking to me through his spirit. I wasn't able to listen because I was grieving. But then he decided to talk to someone else. And the funny thing is this: I had never discussed, aside from my mentor, I had never discussed my business problems with any other person. So to see someone testing me, talking about the same thing and telling me, hey, this is going to work, hold on to it. It was that reconfirmation that indeed life is spiritual and then there's a God. I got up from that and then, okay, how do I make this work? How do I make this work? We've hit a roadblock here. I need to keep paying my guys, and how do I make it work? I stopped grieving and then started figuring out how to make it work. In how to making it work, I started asking the right questions. It was the question that led me to talk again with my mentor and other people that means well to Yomi Drop. And then I realized that okay, there are certain adjustments that need to be made, and we started making that adjustment. And immediately we made that adjustment, I saw it was as if a door finally opened, because once we entered April, it was orders were coming in left, right, and center. I'm like, whoa. So all these guys were waiting for me to make that adjustment. That was just it. All these monies were waiting for me to make the adjustment. But I was busy feeling pity for myself. I was feeling drowning in my own, this is not what I saw. This is not the goal I had set. Because I was looking at it, I looked at the financial goals, because I worked a lot with financial people and all that in starting up Yomi Drop. I was looking at the financial goals. There's no way on earth we're going to make this, because we're talking about 4 months, 5 months into the business and then nothing, and how we're going to do this. I let that cloud me, drowned me, and put me in a place I wasn't breathing, I wasn't seeing, I was just blinded with grief. But when I started asking, how can we make this work? I got the answer. After all, the Bible said, ask and you shall, find, right? Or seek and you shall find, ask and it shall be given. And the beautiful thing is this: when it started working, everything was like, oh wow, nice, finally. Along the line, we hit another roadblock: government policies. That was when I realized that Abuja government decided, we want a particular type of bike to do dispatch business in Abuja. And like the typical Nigerian experience, they expect you to do things without even any form of incentive, right? After all, we're in a country that during the pandemic, people donated noodles, donated things, but our government and people in power decided it's wise to hoard it rather than give it to the citizen during a pandemic. Now, how much more you want us to? I remember for each of our bikes, I bought each of the bikes 270,000, right? I bought 5 of these bikes. Now you want me to buy bikes close to 600,000, just like that. Okay, we're gonna give you guys 2-3 years to make this transition. No, we're giving you guys, you have to make this transition in the next 1 month. And this is a business that just peaked. Where did we find that? So we hit another roadblock. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? I had to talk with my people. I had to talk with my mentor as well. And but then the previous experience of that grief taught me a lot, that I cannot allow this pull me down. I talked to my people, I pack up. Everybody should pack up the whole, like, we packed up the whole 5 bikes. We sold it off and bought 2. Because that was what our money could buy at the time. There was no money. I didn't even have the extra from my personal, because I had spent everything in paying salaries in the previous month. So we had to give up a lot. I'm like, hey, let's call it starting again from the scratch. So we give ourselves like 2 weeks off so that we could change everything, and we came back. And with every experience, with every roadblock, because of the first, I keep saying to myself, nah, this is not going to be grief. I'm not going to grieve over this. What's the worst that can happen, right? There's an accident, the customer says no, or like, what is the worst that can happen? I'm trying to learn from this. I don't have the money, like my mentor said. I don't have the tons of money to keep this afloat for 5 years. I do not have 100 million naira packed up anywhere to like, oh, I'm going to support Yummy Drop with this. I don't have partners. I'm doing this. Basically, I'm building this from my own sweat, from like whatever I earn anywhere else. I'm pouring it into the business. And this is where I appreciate friends and families, because even in that process, even when the whole transition was made, I remember like for like 3-4 months, I had to rely on friends and families to help me. Like I was literally taking loans to make payments. I'm talking about make salary payments. I'll take loans to pay salaries and pay back from my own personal money, not even from Yummy Drop, because I was giving Yummy Drop the opportunity. I was taking no dime. In fact, the whole of 2022, the only payment Yummy Drop gave me was 5,000. And it was because I said to pay myself, because like, hey, let me give myself something to, and that was in December 2022. I called it the managers, what was it again? Like, the manager's pay, right? 5,000 naira. That's it. Because I read, I think it was in the Lions Den. Yeah, I think it was watching the Lions Den. I was like, hey, if you're an entrepreneur and your business is not paying, even if it's 1,000 naira a month, you're going to hate that business. I don't want to hate Yummy Drop. You're going to lose interest. So that was why I had to restructure. So from that December going into 2023, I had to restructure it to be getting some sort of salary, even though it's way less than what I pay my dispatcher or my dispatchers. We went through that. December had his own setback, having to work with dispatchers from hell. It was crazy. Because I lost the first people I started with, great guys, but of course, they had their family to take care of, and Yummy Drop was not doing it for them at the time. When I felt like, okay, there was a bit of money coming in, we had to transition. Like we had to like find people to work with. Some were just looking up for themselves, and that we kind of like hit some sort of image pattern here and there. It was a back and forth. It was a lot of back and forth, before we finally got to a place where we got people that, of course, that had the learning spirit. Like they want to learn, they want to give, of course, expecting you to fulfill your contractual obligation with them, which is to pay them. And then January, we set another like, okay, let's put it all in. I was scared, but let's put it all in. And when we hit a milestone that January, I was so happy. I was so happy that it moved me to tears. I remember talking with my mentor, and I literally was crying on that voice note. Like, we've hit this milestone, and I'm very happy, and I'm grateful to God for that. I want to thank you for your investment in Yummy Drop and all that. And when he responded to me, he was like, he was happy, he was proud. And then he reminded me that, hey, this is all part of the process, right? This is leading to like another roadblock is going to come. You're going to hit another wall, and you're going to hit so many walls. But let today be a reminder that there's so much good, that you're learning a lot, you're drawing a lot, you're investing in people, and all this thing is building you. Don't worry about the destination. Just focus on this journey. And it just gets so... so I'm like, oh, okay. It's not a spoiler alert. It's just the truth. And lo and behold, it was like the next month or the next couple of weeks, there was another roadblock in terms of personnel. Like, so this is what entrepreneurship is all about. It's never about the goal. I believe what makes us so depressed in the whole, why a lot of us give up, is because we have focused so much on the goal. We focus on the end journey. Oh, that place where we want to be able to pay ourselves, pay our people. Like, we focus on that so much that it's biting us. So I believe that's one of the main reasons we have those 97% dying in the first 3 to 5 years, because they kept on focusing on the journey, on the goal, instead of focusing on the processes, instead of focusing on the journey. And someone would say, well, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? Like, let me focus on that. Like, there's a reason why. But let me ask you, especially if you're a believer, do you really know what's going to happen in the next 1 hour of your life? Do you even know the end journey of your life? You just know today. You make a plan. Oh, in 2023, I want to do this, I want to do that. Do you have any idea if you're going to live through 2023? Do you have any idea how many of those goals that you've written down that you're going to achieve? You want to travel out. What if you end up not traveling out? What if instead of going to the United Kingdom, you end up going to Istanbul? God never shows us the end page. He alone sees the end, because that's why he's the Alpha and the Omega. He alone sees the end game, right? He alone knows when the end game is. He just tells us to forget about the past, forget about the future, and just focus on today. And which is exactly what my mentor told me. Hey, you guys see this milestone is fine, but be quick to move over it. Just document it. Put it in the place where you can go back, especially when you hit that wall. Another day I'm going to either sit down or lie down, and whenever I'm going to cry again, I'm going to remember, oh, we've been able to hit these milestones. So that should be enough motivation to like, okay, hey, it sucks. Life happens. This happens in business. There have been up and downs and all that. Well, but even Dangote hits losses, right? Call them Bill Gates, Elon Musk. They all hit losses here and there. But that's life. We can say that but they have the tons of money to stay afloat even when they hit losses. But did they always have that ton of money? I believe I was watching an interview with Elon Musk when he talked about selling off all his shares. I think it was in PayPal also, and put everything into Tesla. Even then, Tesla went bankrupt before they had government assistance. Thank God thank God he's in a country that, where the government believes so much in startups and small businesses. Thank God that's what happened with Apple. People believe in seeing, because let's tell ourselves the truth. No bank in Nigeria will bank on you as a startup. Like, no bank, nobody's going to. What sort of stupid dream? I want to appreciate the likes of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. So many people that are going out of their way to, bring in these initiatives and programs that help African startups. So I really appreciate what they're doing, because if not that, I wonder, because let's tell ourselves the truth, as African startups, as entrepreneurs in Nigeria, we mostly, if it's not your own money or your own family money or your own friends' money, where on earth, where are you gonna, you are only going to get access to other people's money when they've already seen you succeeding. Oh yeah, you're already there, so I can now easily give you my money. You rarely even get help from family. That's the truth. It's in bugging ourselves with this whole, the goal is to drive a house, live fancy, answer my own boss and all that we get depressed, that we can easily give up. As I would see a lot of entrepreneurs leaving entrepreneurship and going back to employment, or leaving entrepreneurship and just moving to get employed. It's the process that builds us, never the goal. It's the process that makes us better. If after crying the next day I decide to quit, trust me, I won't be talking to you about Yummy Drop today. Or if I had moved to Lagos, I probably would have gotten a job, been making money and live a very shitty life. I hate Lagos. The whole traffic, how the air in the town smells and all that. No offense to people living in Lagos. I see you guys are a special breed of human beings. I have no idea how you end up doing that. But that's my opinion. I won't be here today if I had made that hasty decision. Yes, maybe I'm very crazy to have all this patience and all that. I have no idea what tomorrow. And there's nothing I'm saying here means that Yummy Drop is already, what will I call it, is safe. There's nothing stopping, like, I'm not saying that Yummy Drop will not crash tomorrow. There's every possibility. It's still within that 5 years distance. But if it sucks, life, if it crashes, life goes on. I've learned from it. I'm gonna move on to the next project. That is the entrepreneurship life. Like I said, the society is not helping. I'm a 30 years old man, and most times when I walk out, people are like, oh, when are you gonna get married? This, that. I know those pressures. It's as if every relationship, a lot is expected of you as a man, whether from home, from relationship. Like, I understand. Now I'm talking about the male entrepreneurs. That's life. It's all still part of the process. Focusing on the goal will get us depressed. That's just what it is. Focusing on the goal will get us depressed. But now, focusing on that journey, focusing on the conversation with your team members today, focusing on building them today, focusing on like, oh, what did I learn? Focusing on that negotiation today, focusing on that failed project today, focusing on that. It's not easy. I kid you not, it is not easy. I'll be very honest with you. It's not easy. But when you do it so many times, it becomes easier. It's not going to be easy the first time. It's probably not going to be easy the 20th time. But hey, it's going to be way easier the 100th time. That's it. One last thing. Please, as an entrepreneur, remove any content, anything that puts pressure on you. You know, all those I made $200,000 in 2022, 2023. Please get those people, get those contents out of your life. You're probably not going to make $1 million in 2023, and that's absolutely fine. Those content that tell you, oh, I've already made $1 million in the first quarter. Well, first quarter is already over. You've not even made up to $10,000. Heck, you've not even made up to $200. What are we talking about? But it's absolutely fine, because there have been other things you've been able to make. You've been able to start a project you failed at. You've been able to start a relationship. You've been able to start a business. You've been able to... Those are the processes you should focus on. You've been able to hang out with family. Get those contents out of your timeline. Get people that encourage you to be you, encourage you to be on your journey. That's why I'm grateful for the Efes in my life, the Tola Alabis, the my pastors in my life. Those men and women have been able to like, hey, this is my journey right now. And like, hey, all right, keep going. We're with you. We're dragging you. Like, even when you feel down, we're going to drag the hell out of you here. Because the pain is part of the process. Feel the pain, it makes you better. Failure and pain is a fundamental part of success. They in their raw sense is success themselves. The ability to fail is you succeeding at something. You've succeeded in knowing that this does not work. Your ability to feel pain means that, oh, this is painful, so I can do it better. So you've succeeded understanding that there's a better way to do this. That's the entrepreneurship life. It's success after success, but with the society, the world view of success, what the media shows us success to be, have been warped to be this goal that is, what will I call it, that is vain. Because hey, you hit the money, you get the house, you get the fine wife, you get the cars, and what? Your life stops? You see why those cannot be goals for us. You don't want to answer to any boss, so you start up that business. You've already attained the goal, so what's next? What is the driving force? You have to find out what is going to be your driving force every day. Every day you wake up, what is my driving force today? What is holding me today? That is what's going to get you, as crazy as it to become that part of that crazy 3% that succeeds as startups. Like I said, I hope I end up becoming those 3%. But then, if Yomi Drop, Aces Studio, even Brand Talk here becomes one of those 97%, heck, I've learned a lot. I'm going to start something else. That's it. I don't know how else to put it, but get the goal out. I'm not saying write down your goals, fine, but write down your goals and then lock them up somewhere. Then document the process, document your journey every day, and look at those every day. That is your driving force. Until next time, I'm still Ojibe, and peace.